hey, welcome to the podcast. I know the podcast intro is the worst part of this, but our guest today is Brittany Wren. She is a music industry major. She's also a sophomore here at Oklahoma State. But Brittany, how are you?
I'm good.
Are you surviving?
Yeah.
Yeah. What semester are we in now? Is it 4? Is this the 4th?
Yeah, this is the 4th semester. Yeah, but it feels like it's been a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's been. I don't know how it's. First of all, I don't know how it's already almost halfway over. Right. I don't know how we're already at 4 out of 8. I know you have longer though, actually, right? You're doing that special.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It depends though, because I'm already ahead, so I might actually just have 4 also.
But that'll include. Because tell us about what you're.
Because the music industry program, I don't know, the way it's set up, most students are able to get their bachelor's in 3 years and then their MBA in 2 years. And so that's what I'm going to be doing, but I'm already kind of ahead, so I don't know if I'll be here for 5 years or if I'll be here for 4. But
Gotcha. So yeah.
5 years at the most. Probably 5 years actually, because I think there's a lot more that I have to do than I realize. But
when you go to your degree plan, does it factor all that in, or does it just show you your undergrad?
It just shows me my undergrad, but also my advisor didn't know that I wanted to do that until last time I met with him, and so I think he'll help me change that for next time.
Because how many hours have you taken each semester?
Freshman year, I took 19 and then 18 because I don't remember what happened. I don't know. And then my advisor was like, oh no, let's help you change that, because I was taking the wrong classes. I had an advisor mix up, and then he helped me change it, but then he ended up giving me the same amount of hours I had before, and then but just to the right classes. And then the second semester I had 18, and then last semester I had 12, so I didn't know what to do with my time. And then this semester I have 15.
Okay.
So I've experienced all the lows, all the highs. Yeah.
Yeah, because you got to average like 15 to graduate in 4 if you come in with 0 hours.
Yeah, it's about 15, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really am ahead, and I already came in with extra hours from concurrent classes. Yeah.
Well, that would be really impressive if you graduated in a normal amount of time, but with more. That would be pretty good. But can you tell me a bit about what it looks like just to be a music industry major? What kind of classes do you take, and have you taken, and will you take?
Yeah. Well, so the first 2 semesters I was getting all of my music stuff, and it kind of worried me a bit because I thought, am I only going to be doing music? Where's all the business? But they really just have you do all of the music at the beginning, more I had to take fundamentals because I wasn't that great at music theory, so I had to take fundamentals and then theory 1 and then theory 2, and then now I'm taking sight singing and oral skills 2, and you have to take a certain amount of semesters of being in an ensemble, and before they only had choir really available for vocal people with their instrument as their voice. I don't know. And but now they have other options too for ensembles. But ensemble, let's see what else. I was taking a science credit or so my freshman year, but for the most part, yeah, it was theory and sight singing. And I feel like I'm missing stuff. Oh, music business, you take your first year. And then your second year, I'm finally starting to do, this semester at least, I'm starting to do more business classes. So I'm in accounting right now, and I took statistics last semester. That's my math though, I think, not really business. And then I'm taking management right now too, and I'll take marketing.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah, and I'll take business law. I take a lot of business classes. So
you're basically a Spear student.
Yeah, I know, but I'm in the College of Arts and Sciences, so.
How do you like accounting? Is it 2003, survey of accounting? Yeah.
Have you taken it?
I'm in that one this year. Bobby and I actually both are in that one.
Okay. I didn't think you were. I thought you were only in management. Wait, what? Do you have the exam on Thursday also?
Mm-hmm.
I'm really scared.
I'm terrified.
I'm really scared because I was doing the homework last night or yesterday, just during the day. So it wasn't even I was delirious. I was awake. I was this is so much information to remember. Because at first I was like, I'm chilling, like this makes sense. But then I was starting to realize how much little details you have to remember, like, oh, when to move that number there, when to do that, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to need to sit down on like Tuesday and Wednesday and just crank out as much as I possibly can.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do today.
Yeah. So do you think you'll actually use any accounting in your field that you want to go into?
I mean, I could. I don't know. At the very least, it'll help me with my personal finances.
That's true.
So
I've seen that with just how it is.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to look at how you can break it down in like a super like not just a kind of analytical way, but just super analytical.
Yeah, it's really breaking down. And I guess I would probably use it in the music industry, whether like I am managing for someone or I myself am like signing a deal with someone. In that contract there'll be money hoopla.
Yeah.
So.
And if you can't understand it, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be better if I could understand it for sure.
Right. So what do you actually want to do?
I don't know.
No.
Okay, so I just know I'm in the right field because this is where my passion is just music and music industry and even business. I'm actually kind of enjoying management. I know everyone hates it, but I actually kind of like it. I don't know. And I got a pretty good grade on my paper too. I just kind of, the test was different, but anyways. Oh yeah, what was I talking about? Oh, what I want to do. I just know I'm in the right field. At this point, I just am kind of down to do whatever because I know it's a really competitive industry, especially for women too. And so I'm just like, I'm down to do whatever. At first I kind of wanted to do A&R, so artist and repertoire. You find the talent and you make sure they maintain streams and a fan base and stuff. Yeah, but I also this is my second semester taking songwriting, and I've been really enjoying that too. But that would be even more competitive, technically. I mean, A&R is also really competitive. Everything's competitive. So
yeah,
at this point, I'm just like, whoever needs me, I'll just do it.
Yeah. So what does your path look like in the next few years? Like real kind of short term, next 3 to 5 years, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, as of now, I've already started networking because I know, again, how competitive it is. And so, like, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm going to New York City this spring break with Rachel, and not for networking. We're going for fun. But while we're there, we were like, we might as well reach out to people in our respective career fields. And so I reached out to my songwriting teacher, who is really big in the music industry, to see if he knows anyone. And I know he knows people. He just hasn't answered me yet, so I might have to email him back. Anyways, but like, I just started networking and stuff, and then hopefully I'll start making connections. I can start talking to people in the next couple of years. And then my senior year, I'm required to have an internship for my major. And so Dr. Perry, the guy in charge of the program, he'll help me find an internship. And about 90% of the time, wherever you were interning at, they hire you after you graduate. That's happened to like most music industry students. So that's probably what will happen to me. And I'll probably end up in like Nashville at first, or maybe even like my entire career.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So you said you're taking songwriting, like you've taken 2 songwriting classes. Has that, because you've written songs before the class, has the class changed your creative process at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've only really written one full song before the class, and I had a couple snippets of other songs, but I would get too distracted, or I'd get in a mindset where I was like, it has to be perfect, and so I wouldn't even bother to finish it. And so it's helped with that mindset for sure, because in the class you have to write a song every week. And so, yeah. But I don't know, it's once you start doing it, it's a lot easier, and especially the more you do it. Like and when you're doing it by yourself too. When you're in a group, it does take a while to write a song. But whenever the assignment is just write a song by yourself and he gives us a prompt, it's a lot easier than I thought it would be. And I was able to whip out a song in 40 minutes the first week this semester. Like it doesn't take that long anymore. But beginning of last semester, it took me about 2 hours by myself. So you just get better at it. I don't know. And like, you just have to get past, I got past that mentality of it being perfect.
Yeah, that's a big barrier to anything creative.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, nothing's perfect anyways, so.
Right.
Yeah.
So, in the class, do they like are they also teaching you how to write like music part of the song, or is it just mostly lyrics, or is it both?
It's really just lyrics, I've noticed, because I think that's something I struggle with is the music. I have a hard time figuring out a melody that I actually really like. When I'm with a group, it's a little bit easier, but he'll mention the melody and he'll be like, I like how it went up right there, or like I like how it was like dun 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 dun, like he'll like do stuff like that, but he doesn't actually talk about the theory, like music theory about it and chord analysis and whatever. But me being in music theory for 3 semesters has helped a bit. Like I was using chord analysis on the last song because I was like, wait, I could just use this to figure out the next chord progression because if I'm in this key, yada yada, and so that's helped a bit.
How does that work? Explain that
What?
to me. Like using chord analysis to figure out what chord would be next.
Well, okay, so I just remember in theory 2, my professor, he taught us. We spent a few weeks on common chord progressions, and so I'm trying to think how to explain it. And so like he showed us this website and it was like most used chord progressions in popular songs. And so I used that page a lot when writing music because I'm like, well, I'm not really writing classical music, so I don't need the other chord progressions. And anyways, so like the common chord progression is 1 4 5, if that makes sense. Well, does that make sense to you?
It makes sense to me, but why don't you explain it? Cause,
okay.
Because it's if you start on the 1 chord, this.
Yeah, so like if you're in the key of C and you start on 1 chord, it's going to be the C chord because that's the first note. And then the next note is D, which is 2, which would be D chord. So and so on. And so the common chord progression was 1 4 5, which is, what is that? C, F, G,
and C.
And then C again. Yeah. So that's did that kind of explain it?
Yeah, no, that was great.
Yeah.
So is it just then basing it off of what's popular, what's common when you're doing this chord analysis, and you're like, oh, a lot of people would put the 5 after the 4, so I can put the 5 after the 4.
Yeah, it is usually what's just most common. But also like with theory itself, it's a science like where they actually consider what sounds pleasing to the ear naturally. And so those chord progressions sound good. Like for example, if you have a chord progression and you end on like a 7, well actually a 7 because sometimes you end on, we'll just say a 7, and then that's it. It just ends on a 7. Like naturally to our ears, it's going to be like, where's the ending? And so you have to like conclude it on a 1 chord or maybe a 5 chord.
Right. And there's no like real explanation for that other than that's just what sounds good.
I don't think so. I've never actually like looked into it, but I'm curious about that.
Well, because I've heard music is all about tension and release. I'm sure you probably heard that. And so, you're always trying to create something that isn't going to resolve and then resolve it, right?
Yeah.
How often do you use the 6-4-1-5 chord progression?
I don't know. I only started considering chord analysis last week because before I was just, man, these chords sound good together and just doing it. But then I was like, wait, I can actually use what I learned in theory.
Yeah.
So.
How much do you know about like music history?
A little bit. Do you mean like history as in for classical music, like all the way in the beginning? Or like I'm in history of rock and roll right now?
Well, because here's my question is, and it's a question I've often had, but if you listen to like old kind of rock songs, so maybe this will apply. Compared to new pop songs. So that 6-4-1-5, that's like A minor, F, C, G, or E minor, C, G, D in the key of G. Those are like every pop song or every worship song or like every country song is those 4 chords, and they're everywhere now, and they weren't. You know what I mean? Like the Beatles used it one time. Okay. I think in Let It Be, they do that chord progression, and they had a dozen number 1 hits. And so I didn't know if you knew at what point those became the chords.
I have no idea. I'm wondering. I don't know. I should ask Dr. Perry. He's the one who teaches that class. I bet he would know. But I'm wondering if maybe the Beatles, maybe they're like, man, that kind of sounds good. What if it was Let It Be? They're just like, everyone was just like, yeah, that's easy. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because they do sound good. You know, it is the best chord progression.
Yeah. And it's really easy to play too.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. It's like the easiest to play.
It sounds good every time. Any speed, any, even arrangement. You can switch those around in like any number of ways. Just those 4, and it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, it's just everywhere. And so I didn't know. It's anytime I've played any old rock song, it's like they don't use those ones. Or they use them, but more like the chord progression you talked about, which was 1, 4, 5, where they just kind of do that. And so it's not the 4 chords, but so many songs just use the 4 chords.
Yeah.
So what else have you learned in classes about the creative process for making music? Because the songwriting is just sort of like the screenplay of a movie, right? Still plenty of work to do afterwards. Have you taken any classes with like production or music video production?
I wish. That'll be next semester, like next year. Yeah, I know, because I have no idea how to do that. There's 2 guys in my songwriting class that do that to every single song they write every week. They just they write it on their production platform, and because I've collabed with both of them, and they both were just like, as we were going, editing on and like having me sing into a mic and recording me, which I'm glad they made me do, because I didn't realize how nervous I got in front of a mic that's recording. Like I'm fine singing in front of a crowd. I get a little butterfly, but singing in front of a mic that's recording me, and it's like a quiet room and you can hear myself. I got a little scared. But yeah, so I don't know. I haven't taken music production yet.
Yeah. And
I have no idea how to do it or anything, but I find it very fascinating.
Well, it seems like it would be fun, and kind of going back to like music history, that like was so difficult until like digital era. You know what I mean? Like that, I don't know, and maybe have you covered any of that in history of rock and roll, of what recording used to be like?
Oh, what recording used to be like?
Yes, recording and then kind of mixing it.
Yeah, we did, and music business, but very briefly, so I couldn't really tell you.
Gotcha.
I don't really remember. Yeah. But we would, in music theory, briefly, my professor, he would talk about the history of the composers that we were studying and stuff, which was always pretty interesting to me, because they're always more, the way they write music is way more complicated than how we do now, but at the same time, it kind of shaped how we write music, so.
Yeah, and that's even a more extreme example of like what I was mentioning a second ago, where it's like, I was talking about, a few decades ago, rock and roll compared to now, but classical music doesn't use 4 chords at all. And
yeah, they use like all chords.
They're doing
different inversions, augmented, diminished, everything.
They are. It's just totally different, and I don't know why we just simplified everything. And it's weird because I don't like classical music generally. It's not something that agrees with my ear, and I do like popular music, but it's like we did simplify it.
I think we might have just like evolved, because you're right, there are some people, I mean, like you, don't like classical music. I love classical music, but yeah, there's some people that just don't enjoy it, and so I'm wondering if it's just like we've evolved to have simpler tastes, I guess.
Well, do you think it's evolved or devolved?
I have no that's a good question. I don't know. I feel like since it's writing music is a creative process, I feel like we just have to say evolved, because there's no way to say if it's better or worse, just because there's nothing really to compare it to overall.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I think it's an ever evolving process, probably.
Yeah. for sure.
So do you think that the state of modern music is like, you think it's good? You think generally things are in a good place?
I don't know. I mean, in the terms of just like music in general, like just how songs are sounding like and stuff. Because I don't know, on the radio, I don't listen to the radio, but when growing up, if I'd listen to the radio, I hated it. I was like, this sucks. This is really bad. Especially once I got in high school, it just seemed like it got worse. Because in elementary and junior high, every once in a while, there'd be like Coldplay and like Maroon 5, like the good Maroon 5. And I'm like, okay, I kind of like that. But once I got to high school, I was like, oh, it was just everything was overly. There was too much auto-tune and everything was edited too much, and there was too many artificial sounds, I feel like, in it. But that's also my personal preference. I think some people like that. But I feel like now a lot of people, especially with TikTok, everyone is leaning towards more indie alternative pop sounds, I feel like. And like you're cool if you know this underground artist, and so these underground artists are actually really mainstream now because so many people are like, I'm cool and I listen to Tame Impala and Phoebe Bridgers, when in reality they're huge artists. So
yeah. Well, I'm actually glad you brought TikTok up, because that's probably been the biggest change in the way music operates in the last, how is it, 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, probably 2 years overall. Because the first year, no one was really on TikTok. Or I don't know, wait. Because I don't remember. The past
2 or 3
few years have
yeah.
blurred, yeah.
But, I mean, can you, walk me through a little bit, just because you'd probably be more in tune with just that side of things, what that did for music?
There's a couple. It also, like, TikTok became really popular during COVID also. And so COVID also plays into it a bit. But with TikTok, since it's I think our minds naturally we have short attention spans. And so TikTok just enhanced that. But artists were able to use that to their advantage instead of like give up. And they're like small artists, even without publishers or managers, or even artists that aren't signed to record deals, are using TikTok as a platform to show their music, and they just get like the best snippet of their song to show. And so many artists have blown up on TikTok, which I think is really great. But I don't know. I don't know like the statistics or anything, but I'm wondering how it's affecting the business world too. I don't know if that made sense, but yeah, I've always wondered that. And then with COVID, the music industry stopped with live performances, and that's where a lot of people in the industry make money, like a lot. In fact, like, cause artists don't get enough money from streams. I think on Spotify it's like 0.0038 cents, something like that. There's a 3 and an 8 in there. Spotify's one of the lowest ones, but it's one of the biggest music streaming platforms. And so, yeah, it's ridiculous. So artists don't get enough money from streaming platforms. So usually they rely on touring, and they can't do that. And so people were turning to live streams and stuff. But I don't know. Now I think there's going to be a mix of both in the future, of live streaming, and same with, because like I'm sure you know about with the movie theater. I think it's a similar vibe with the movie theater. It's going to be mostly at home streaming for movies now than it is going to be movie theater. So, which sucks, because I know for me personally, for movies and for music, I'd rather go in person.
Yeah, and that's because they've just done a good job over decades, creating an experience. That's what it is. They've created an experience, and it's different than you can get, and especially with some movies, like Dune. I mean, you saw Dune. That was a big movie this year, literally, and this movie is massive.
Yeah.
And if you're watching that on a TV, even a big TV, but especially a laptop or a phone, you're missing so almost everything.
Yeah.
Picture quality, sound, it's all gone.
Yeah.
And I can see how that that same principle then translates to just not being, because it's the same thing. It's like if your friends come back from a concert, or they post it on Snapchat, or they show you the video and you're like,
yeah,
I don't feel anything.
Yeah.
It's like there's nothing to feel because you weren't there.
Yeah.
And you're like, why are you showing me? But if you're there, there's that emotional connection with the singer, and you can literally feel the music, not just hear it, but it's like you can feel that music. And it's just an experience.
Yeah.
And so I hope it never goes away completely. Same thing with movie theaters. I mean, do you think it will ever? Do you think there's ever a point in the future where there would be almost no live performances?
I don't think so. I mean, if there is, I don't even want to think about it. If there is a chance of there being no live performances, I don't want to think about that. But I don't think so. Because a lot of artists still, the way they show their music, even though there's TikTok and stuff, and they'll utilize both TikTok and this, but they'll perform on the street, and that's a version of a live that is a live performance, So I don't think live performances are ever going to go away. And like now that COVID has been not necessarily clearing up, but people have been finding ways to manage it better. So I've been seeing so many artists. They're on tour right now. So many of my favorite artists, and they're all also releasing music every single week. Like almost every single day, I see one of the artists I know released a new song, and I think it's because they're fixing to go on tour and they want people to start noticing and stuff. But there's so many tours coming out right now, so I think that gave me hope that it's not ever going to go away. But I feel like they're still going to be streaming, because a lot of people actually really enjoyed that because they thought it was really convenient to just stay home.
So you mentioned though that the live shows are where a lot of people make their money. How much of, like you say that you don't think they'll ever go away, how much of that would you attribute to that money aspect, and how much of it would you actually contribute to the artists like that connection with the fans, and the fans like that connection with the artist? Because basically I'm saying if they found a way where streaming made more money for everyone than the live shows, do you think that would be a switch?
I don't know. I think it just depends on the artist. And I feel like if the artist is producing good music, that means they have a passion for the art and not for the money. I don't know. If you're in the music industry and you're doing it because you love it, there's no part of you that's doing it for the money, because most of the time you're not going to be making any money unless you're super famous. So, and even then you don't make that much money compared to other famous people. But yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. I would hope no one's doing it just for the money.
Well, and that's the thing though, is we don't have to suggest that the artists are doing it for the money, but it's the people behind the artists that certainly are, for probably the most part.
Yeah.
And that's because they're on that business side, and they of course profit is important.
Yeah.
And so, if you're an artist that you're signing a contract and they're like, we want you to do this many virtual performances, and especially with like the weird pushes that the metaverse is trying to make happen.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I'm sure it's happened that there's been a live show in some sort of virtual reality.
Oh, there's been multiple.
Yeah.
I've listened to a few podcasts about it, or like what is it? It's not a podcast, but it's live and you listen to it like a live phone call. I don't know. I joined it on LinkedIn, but yeah, no. There's with the metaverse. There's so many artists that, like, one woman on this phone call, she was like, "Hi y'all, what's the name of the character that you what is it? What?
You say MTV? Like what?
No, not MTV. What is it? Like, everyone's been referring to it, and it's like the character that you have, and you like take a couple months to process the character online.
NFT?
Yeah, NFT.
So well, hold on. An NFT is just a digital art image that you mint through a cryptocurrency and then sell. It's really stupid. I really hate NFTs.
Okay, wait, really? Because people are like, oh, I was honestly really confused during this phone call. So maybe I've been trying to research it, but I'm still so confused. Okay, so in the phone call, there was one guy, and he was like, "Yeah, I've just had this NFT. Been working on it for like a few months now. It's been processing, yada yada." And I'm like, "What? What is that? What?" And then he's like, "And it's gonna make me money, whatever." And like, and blah 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 blah. And then this one lady, she was like, "Yeah, I'm the first ever women rapper NFT performer lady." And I was like, "Whoa!" But I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah, so NFTs are really weird, and I'll be honest, I don't 100% understand all of the mechanics of how they work, but essentially they've tried to digitize the process of making and then selling or buying art. So like if you go buy someone's art and you hang it up, it's like you own that piece of art, right? They've kind of tried to do that with digital images, and it's very weird, and it's all based through cryptocurrency, and that's how they make money. So like you'll see all these NFT collections, like the stupid apes one. You may have seen that. They're really bad.
I don't think I have.
I'll show it to you after. They're really weird, but there's just a whole bunch. Think of it like Pokemon trading cards.
Okay.
And so there's only a limited number, and some are more valuable than others.
Okay.
And especially as the cryptocurrency inflates, which is what it does, right? If you buy, $100, it could be worth $200 tomorrow.
Yeah.
As it inflates the value of the Pokemon card that you bought.
So it's not at all like you can't. So NFTs aren't little characters in the metaverse. That's what I thought it was.
No.
I thought that was you like processing your character and like making it look neat.
No, when he said that, he probably was like going through a minting process because you have to mint it through like Ethereum or Bitcoin or something.
Okay.
And I don't know how, but that's probably what he meant. But
and then what about the rapper lady? Why does she saying like I'm the first NFT women rapper?
Some NFTs, most are like photos, which that's the whole joke is that you can screenshot an NFT and it's like you didn't have to buy it and you whatever. So most of them are like JPEGs, images, but some of them are GIFs and some of them are videos. And I think one of the first ones I heard about was a video of LeBron James dunking. And so they were able to sell that video. And so maybe she had a performance and then sold the video of that performance as an NFT. That's my best guess.
I guess. Or maybe she didn't refer to it as NFT. Maybe she did say metaverse.
She could have. First metaverse rapper.
And I just confused the two because I already thought they were together.
Maybe. But either way, the metaverse, though, and I mean, NFT, the whole push for anything digital just sort of like existing online. I don't know if you saw the Facebook Super Bowl ad with the animatronic animals. It was very weird.
I don't think I did.
It was really weird. Anyway.
Wait. And they're like da 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 da. And they're like dancing in this picture frame. And it was for I thought it was for metaverse. I thought it was for Meta.
It was for Meta.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And he goes into the virtual world.
Yeah. I kind of thought those little animals were cute. They were weird, but they were kind of cute.
They weren't ugly, but it was just a weird ad.
It was really random. But it made you remember it.
Oh, for sure.
And that was the tactic they were going for.
That is always true. And I mean, you haven't taken marketing yet, but it's like...
I haven't, but Rachel, she's a StratCom major. She's always talking about different marketing techniques and stuff, and I'm always just kind of listening to her because she enjoys it. So, but...
Right. It's like, if you remember the ad, was it really a bad ad?
Yeah. Yeah.
But back, like, live performances in the metaverse. So again, if you sign a contract here in 5 years, right? You're going to be a big artist. They love you, right? But it's not in your contract that you'll do any live shows because they're like, we can make, twice as much money just having you sing and play in the metaverse, and we'll sell an infinite amount of digital tickets. Because I feel like some of the metaverse stuff is like a room that gets filled up still, but I feel like they could literally do it where each person felt like it was a one-on-one performance because it's just digital. They could do whatever they want. So they could sell literally 100,000 front row seats to your show and make twice as much money. And do you think that's a possibility that things would get to that point? And then that's where live shows, and like you said, people would still sing on street corners. You probably would have more like independent artists still doing live shows, but big time stars that sign with labels. You think could you see them being like, no, we're not going to do that if it got to that point with Prophet? Because again, I don't think you said it's not really there yet.
Yeah, if it got to that point with Prophet, I can see it. Now I'm thinking about it because I was kind of constricting my mind to only like pop artists, like sweet pop artists and like indie, whatever. But if it really got to it, I could see some of the people in the rap industry doing that because they really like the huge fan bases. Like they really take that in, and they take in the money too because they like rapping about it.
Right.
And it's all part of that culture. So I could see them doing that. And I think naturally, like, it is more like DJs and rappers and stuff that are performing in the metaverse. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure because, like, my brother, I remember the first one, it wasn't metaverse, it was on Roblox, but Marshmello, it was a DJ for a show on Roblox. Like, I don't know. That's why I feel like it's because it's more appealing to, I think it's also more appealing to the male population who already are, like, they grew up doing video games and stuff. And so, like, my brother, he loves the VR and the Oculus. So, he went to a concert one time through the VR, whatever, Oculus. I don't know what the right term is. They're both the same thing.
Yeah, okay. The Oculus is just a brand of VR.
Okay. You know. Okay. But anyways, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm talking in circles, but
that's okay. That makes a lot of sense with what you said about the just males and the video game stuff.
Yeah, and that was kind of me like while I was talking it, I was like, wait, I was kind of realizing it. So that's why I was speaking out my thoughts. So.
Right. And so I tend to listen to some similar types of, like, some of that indie kind of quieter music, but I can occasionally just be like, I want something that's more mindless, and I'll get into some, I think Bobby calls it like party rap. Yeah. You know, like it's just garbage, really. Yeah. Some Eminem in there has some good lyrics, but I'm not there for that too much. It's the music, right? And so I wonder if, would you say that there's a tie with like rap music and like club music, DJ music? It's less about a connection with the artist and more about the feel of the music. You get the bass and the drums coming in, and it's just kind of a head bump song.
Yeah, it is.
And you wouldn't lose as much by having a virtual performance as you would with like Phoebe Bridgers or something, where it's very much she's there with her guitar or something and just kind of singing to you, it feels like.
Yeah, and whenever it's not a rap artist, you connect with the people around you too. Because, yeah, I went to a Dermot Kennedy concert a few years ago, and it was me and Mackie, and we have a picture with like six other people, and we were all really close because we all really connected just over Dermot Kennedy and our love for his music and our love for music in general. And we just talked the entire hour before he came on because we got there really early. An hour is not that early. That's when they opened the doors. But yeah, and then anyways, but back to like what was your question? It was about
like rap music. I kind of was just
I think because I agree yeah, because with rap music it is almost like, I don't know, I don't really find the appeal. Like there's rap music that I enjoy, I'm like, yeah, go off, but there's a lot of the rap music, it's almost just people enjoy it because it's part of their culture at this point, and it's part of like being young and like, I don't know, and it is like party music and stuff like that, but I don't really know of anyone who's just like genuinely, I just really enjoy this music and the way it sounds, and I will listen to this by myself all the time, and I just love this artist and blah, 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 blah. I don't know, it's more about the vibes, and I really don't know how to put it into words, but yeah, and so I think that's why, I agree, I think that's why it could be more successful in a virtual reality.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And rap that's what it is for me. I just, it's like the best bass lines and drums of any genre, and because that's kind of all it is.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if I kind of just want something that just has a nice low end to it, it's just kind of fun to listen to.
Yeah, I agree. I remember like I was talking to one of my coworkers years ago when I still lived in Plainview, and he has a similar music taste to me, and for some reason he was talking about rap music, and he knew that I didn't really listen to rap music. And he was like, well, I was talking to my buddy who listens to rap music, and I was asking him, why do you like this? And he said, it's just mindless. Like, it's something I can just mindlessly listen to and not think about. So I think it's funny that you keep referring to it as that, because that kind of just shows you that everyone just feels similar about rap music.
Yeah, and I mean, there's certainly, I'm sure, plenty of people, and like Bobby, like he for sure just likes rap music, and there is some good like heart to it that I certainly don't relate to, right? Like just culturally, it's they will sing about things that I have no frame of reference for, and so there is some heart to it that I certainly miss, and so I those songs don't jump out to me. I really just like the ones that feel good to listen to.
Yeah.
But there is that culture in rap, and some of it is good. I mean, Eminem though, and that's just me being a white teenager, but he honestly, that's really the best lyrics in terms of rhyming.
Yeah, he does.
That's it. That dude's got it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I do listen. I like some rap music, and I've just when I was referring to rap music, I was mostly referring to just like, I don't like the trashy frat party music, but I'll listen to some Doja Cat sometimes, or like, I really like Doja Cat. I think that might be I love her music. I think it's so fun. And I think that's one thing that some artists kind of forget about. Like, music doesn't have to be sad or about love every single time. And like, her first hit was, is it okay if I cuss on this?
Yeah, no one cares.
And their first hit was, bitch, I'm a cow. Bitch, I'm a cow. I thought that was so funny, and like, it blew up. And I think she kind of is a good, I didn't mean to go off about Doja Cat, but she's a rapper and I just enjoy her. So
I find myself consistently surprised by how much I like her music. Because I'm like you, I don't listen to I hate the radio. And it's part of it is like the music. You know, it's like I don't like a good chunk of the songs. But part of it is the ads. I hate how many ads and commercials there are on the radio.
Yeah, same.
It's horrible.
Same.
And so, but occasionally, like if I forget my cord in my car, and so I'm like, I need some music. I'll turn the radio on. I've done this a few times, and Doja Cat's come on, and I'm like, I actually like this song.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, this is catchy.
Yeah, she is one rapper I think won't switch to virtual entirely, because like her fan base really does connect with her live and in person, and I definitely think she realizes that, because she's very interactive with her fans when performing, and she's a good performer too. So
well, and this topic of rap has actually brought an interesting question to my mind, where so like Eminem, good lyrics, like really good lyrics, but and it's obviously rap, so there's not really a melody, and the music isn't always super great. But then someone like Doja Cat, I feel like her melodies are really, really strong. Lyrically, not so much.
Yeah.
Songs I've listened to. And so how do you, as a songwriter, find that balance where it's like something should be catchy, but you don't want it to be so, like, dumb?
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like a lot of pop songs are kind of just dumb, and the more you listen to them, even if they're catchy, it's like they just get old faster. But if you have like a good hook, good lyric, and a good melody, you know, how do you find that?
Yeah, I practice. How do you find it? You just practice, I guess. And also, like, I think all these artists who already have a fan base, they write for their audience. It's like Eminem knows that his fan base really do just enjoy the depth of all of his lyrics, and Doja Cat realizes all of her fans like her music because it's lighthearted and they don't have to overthink or be emotional about it. And so I think it just depends on what your style is. And so for me personally, I want to have I do want to have a balance. I don't want it to be far left or right. And so I've just been practicing, and I think originally when I first started songwriting, I was making it way too wordy, because I thought every single song I wrote had to come from the depths of my heart, and I had to like convey every emotion that I was feeling about that specific topic perfectly, and everyone had to understand to a T what I was feeling. But then I started to realize that's not possible. I can't just make other people feel what I'm feeling and convey it perfectly through writing, but 2, it was taking away from the melody because it was way too wordy. It wasn't flowing as well, and because there was too many syllables, and like it was just like an essay. So, so yeah, I've been working on that, and I think, I mean, the fact that I wrote a song in 40 minutes just kind of shows you I haven't been putting too much. You just can't put that much pressure on getting the right lyrics and stuff, because it'll come naturally, because it's gonna show who you are naturally, I feel like.
Yeah. So if I can ask you this question, like if you can answer this question, this is quite a loaded question, but would you place more importance on lyrics or melody?
It definitely depends on, again, the song and the artist. So are you talking about like whenever I'm writing for music, or like preference, or just in general?
Your answer can be whatever you want, but I also like if you have a melody in your head, right? Like it just comes out of nowhere, random inspiration, and you just have like a da da da, you've got a melody in your head, and you're like, that's really catchy, that's great. Are you likely then to go sit down at the piano or with your guitar, and that no one's going to hear that melody until there is a good line that goes with it? Or are you just going to be like, anything that can kind of fit and make sense, because I need to get this melody out there?
Yeah. So with that specific scenario, if I had a melody stuck in my head and I needed to get it out, I would just put whatever lyrics flowed with it, and then from there I'd write a song.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, honestly, that is exactly how I write music, is I just come up with a melody randomly with a few chords, and then I add lyrics, and then I base that entire song off that one line.
Yeah.
And I make up a story, which maybe I should start writing about my own personal experiences, but I've just been making up stories.
Well, I've realized that's not as important at all, because a good chunk of artists have people that write the songs for them. So it's certainly not about their own experience. And like my brother Grayson, he has no life experience at all. And he's written like 200 songs. And he'll sing a song, and I'm like, you've never dated. Where does this come from? And he just sort of knows that there's just things that's like people relate to that story. And I think when you can see it as just storytelling.
Yeah.
Just like any art form.
I agree.
That's always been my, like, art is storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Once I started to realize that, so much pressure was taken off my shoulders for songwriting, because before I would take forever. I'm like, oh, I can't convey this emotion. But now, yeah, I'm just storytelling, and I love storytelling. It's one of my favorite things to do, and I have a huge imagination, and I have a passion for music, so I just combined all those things, and it's great. I really enjoy it. But
that's awesome. Well, hey, you got any closing thoughts? We'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Anything you want to leave anybody with?
I have no idea. I don't know. We were just talking about music. I was just vibing. I guess, I don't know.
Throw some tips out there for some up-and-coming songwriters.
Oh, okay. It's okay. Everyone always says, write what you know, but that is okay. You don't have to do that. I totally am taking this from a book, but I like to say, write what you want to hear and write what you want to know. Like, make up stories. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, Britt, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah.
And your thoughts. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Of course.